I will be giving my speech over the effects of caffeine on the body. Have you ever felt so tired and unable to concentrate, but you had to stay up to study for a very important test? You might have even cracked open an energy drink to help give you that boost that you need to keep your eyes open and the ability to focus. How many of us have to have a cup of coffee every morning, or even throughout the day just to keep us going? Well, if you answered yes to either one of those, you're definitely not alone. Seeing how college students have to consume high access amounts of caffeine in order to help concentrate and focus on studying, it's important for us to know and understand the effects that it has on our bodies. People from all around the world share the need for caffeinated beverages, but caffeine's not only found in coffee and energy drinks. It's also found in teas, sodas, and even cocoa beans. Caffeine can have both positive and negative effects on our bodies, depending upon the amount that we consume. I'm in authority to speak on this because I have done research over the past few weeks, and also personally experienced some of the side effects of drinking caffeine. Today, I'm going to inform you about the effects of caffeine on the human body. First, I'm going to tell you about some of the advantages of consuming caffeine, when it's taken in moderation, of course. Second, I will tell you about some of the adverse effects that caffeine can have on the body, both short-term and long-term. Third, I will explain how we can become addicted to caffeine when we depend upon it daily and consume it in large amounts. First, I'm going to tell you about some of the advantages of caffeine when it's consumed in moderation. You may ask, what's considered a safe amount of caffeine that we can consume? A moderate amount of caffeine is usually around 2 to 4 cups of coffee per day. Caffeine being the richest in caffeine, you can easily consume more sodas or teas and it still be considered moderate. One of the advantages in consuming a moderate amount of caffeine is that it increases the level of alertness in the body, and it also helps with the ability to concentrate. How this works is, caffeine stimulates the central nervous system. By increasing the level of dopamine, epinephrine, and adrenaline in the body, it allows you to be more alert and focused on what you're doing. It also blocks the reception of adenosine in the brain, which helps making you feel more awake. Another advantage in consuming caffeine in moderate amounts is that it helps in reducing migraine headaches. The caffeine constricts the blood vessels to ease the symptoms of extreme headaches. Caffeine is also in many over-the-counter and prescription drugs to help with these headaches and reduce their symptoms. Along with improving alertness and helping with headaches, another advantage of caffeine is that it can also aid in weight loss. With the increase of adrenaline in the body, you have more energy to exercise and to burn more calories. Caffeine also suppresses your appetite, which helps with not overeating. Now that I have told you about the advantages of caffeine, now I'm going to tell you about the adverse effects that caffeine can have on the body, both short-term and long-term effects. Even consuming caffeine in reasonable amounts, you can have short-term effects from it. The caffeine can cause bouts of upset stomach and insomnia. It will cause caffeine-induced headaches that occur from trying to stop drinking caffeine altogether. Drinking caffeinated drinks on a daily basis and in higher amounts can cause long-term effects on the body as well. The intake of high amounts of caffeine and the repeated use can cause anxiety, rapid heart rate and breathing, diarrhea and excessive urination, tremors and increased blood pressure, in which you will be diagnosed with panic disorder or generalized anxiety disorder. Not only can caffeine cause panic disorder or generalized anxiety disorder, heavy caffeine use can lead to osteoporosis from bone density loss. Also, a peptic ulcer or gastroesophageal reflux disorder can occur from the smooth muscle relaxation or heartburn. Even in some cases, if a pregnant woman consumes high levels of caffeine, the increased caffeine intake can lead to a miscarriage. It can also lead to restricted growth of the baby or even low birth weights. Now that I've told you about the advantages that caffeine can have, also some of the adverse effects that it has on the body, I'm going to inform you on how we can become addicted to caffeine when we depend upon it daily and consume too much of it. Can a person really become so dependent on caffeine that they can be considered addicted to it? Addiction to caffeine comes when a person consumes excessive amounts of caffeine to gain the maximum positive effects to avoid the withdrawal symptoms. People are more at risk of developing addiction to caffeine when they consume more than the daily safe amount of 4 cups of coffee, which is approximately 400 milligrams of caffeine on a daily basis. After drinking certain amounts of caffeine for so long, our bodies become tolerant to those amounts, and we need higher amounts of caffeine to achieve those positive effects again. Now we have energy drinks that can support giving us the caffeine we need that we don't get from teas and sodas anymore. Also, men that consume more caffeine on the average than women are at higher risk of becoming addicted. However, caffeine dependency decreases after the age of 65 because of the adverse effects. Today I have informed you about the effects that caffeine can have on the body, some positive and some negative. We talked about the advantages of caffeine consumption, the adverse effects of caffeine, and the possibility of becoming addicted to caffeine. Now you can be more educated on the effects of caffeine the next time you go to Starbucks and order that large coffee, or even the energy drink that you order to help you stay awake and study for that big exam. You now can weigh the pros and cons of how much you drink and how your body will be affected. Here is my index card with my notes. Thank you.